What if getting older doesn't automatically mean becoming less active, less independent, or less capable? After 50, the habits you build can have a real impact on how you move through everyday life. And you don't need some extreme fitness routine to get started. In fact, some of the most useful things are surprisingly simple. Think about your everyday life: getting out of a chair, carrying groceries, walking through a parking lot, going upstairs, taking a trip, playing with your grandkids. These aren't fitness tests. They're normal parts of life, and staying physically active can help you keep doing them as you get older. The CDC considers regular physical activity an important part of healthy aging. Staying active can help support physical function, mobility, and independence as you get older. And here's something worth remembering: it's never too late to become more active. So if you've spent the last few years sitting more and moving less, don't beat yourself up about it. You don't have to suddenly become a gym person. Start with what feels realistic for you. A walk around the neighborhood can be a perfectly reasonable place to begin. And you don't have to do everything in one shot. Physical activity can be spread throughout the day. Instead of thinking, "I need to work out for an hour," think about where you can add more movement to the day you already have. Maybe you take a short walk after breakfast. Maybe you spend some time gardening. Maybe you walk around the block while talking on the phone. Maybe you simply make an effort to stand up and move around more often during the day. These things may not look like a traditional workout, but they still get your body moving. And when you're trying to become more active, that's a great place to start. Now, there's another piece that becomes especially important as we get older: strength. Walking is great, but your muscles need a reason to stay strong too. Strength helps with everyday movements like standing up, carrying things, climbing stairs, and getting in and out of a chair. And strength training doesn't automatically mean lifting heavy weights at a gym. Depending on your fitness level, it could involve resistance bands, light weights, bodyweight exercises, or other movements that safely challenge your muscles. The goal isn't to prove how much weight you can lift. The goal is to help your body stay capable. That's an important distinction after 50. We're not training just to look good in a mirror. We're building strength so everyday life can stay easier and more manageable for as long as possible. And if you're starting from scratch, go slowly. You don't need to copy somebody else's workout routine. Your current fitness level, balance, joints, medical history, and other factors all matter. If you have a health condition or you're unsure what type of exercise is appropriate for you, talk with a qualified healthcare professional before making major changes to your activity routine. There's also a mindset shift I want you to make. Don't think of exercise as punishment for getting older. Think of movement as something you're doing for your future self. Every walk is an opportunity to practice moving. Every strength session is an opportunity to challenge your muscles. Every active day is another chance to keep your body doing the things you want it to do. And you don't need to be perfect. Maybe you miss a workout. Maybe you have a lazy weekend. Maybe you're traveling or simply having a rough week. That's life. Just get back to your routine when you can. Because healthy aging isn't built around one perfect workout. It's built around what you keep doing over months and years. And there's another reason I like this approach. You're not trying to turn back the clock. You're trying to make the years ahead better. Your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond can still include travel, hobbies, family, friends, walks, adventures, and plenty of things you've never tried before. So start where you are. Move a little more. Work on your strength. Build gradually. And focus less on becoming younger and more on staying capable. Because the real goal of healthy aging isn't simply adding more years to your life. It's keeping as much life as possible in those years. Let's talk about something you deal with every single day: food. And after 50, healthy eating isn't about following some crazy diet or trying to live on salads. It's about giving your body the nutrients it needs while still enjoying your meals. Because you don't need a perfect diet to age well. You need an eating pattern you can actually live with. Think about your normal day. Maybe breakfast is quick, lunch happens whenever you get a chance, and dinner is when you finally slow down. That's real life. But over time, those everyday choices can add up. That's why it's worth paying attention to the foods you eat most often, rather than obsessing over one meal or one day. The National Institute on Aging considers healthy eating an important part of healthy aging. Its guidance emphasizes choosing a variety of nutrient-dense foods across the major food groups, including vegetables, fruits, grains, protein foods, and dairy or suitable alternatives. So what does that look like in real life? Start with foods you already know are nutritious. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts and seeds, fish, eggs, and other protein-rich foods. You don't need to put everything on one plate. Just start making nutritious choices a bigger part of your normal routine. Maybe you add berries to breakfast. Maybe you put vegetables alongside dinner. Maybe you choose whole grain bread more often. Maybe you add beans to a soup or salad. These aren't dramatic changes, but they're practical. And practical habits are much easier to stick with than a complete diet makeover. There's another mistake I want you to avoid: making healthy eating all about weight loss. Your weight can be one part of the picture, but it isn't the whole picture. As you get older, getting enough nutrients and maintaining your ability to stay active are important too. That's why the quality of your food matters, not just the number on the scale. Protein is one piece of that puzzle. Foods such as fish, eggs, dairy, beans, nuts, seeds, soy foods, and lean meats can all provide protein. NIA guidance recommends a variety of nutrient-dense protein foods for older adults. The best choices for you can depend on your individual health needs and eating pattern. And here's something I really want you to hear. You don't have to completely eliminate the foods you love. If you enjoy pizza, you can still have pizza. If you love dessert, you can still enjoy dessert sometimes. Healthy eating doesn't have to mean making every meal feel like a punishment. The bigger question is, what do you eat most of the time? If most of your meals are built around nutritious foods, an occasional treat doesn't have to become a source of guilt. NIA guidance also recognizes that occasional treats can fit into an overall healthy eating pattern. Another simple idea is to pay attention to added sugar, saturated fat, and sodium. You don't have to memorize every nutrition label in the grocery store. Just start noticing what's in the foods and drinks you regularly buy. Sometimes a small swap can make a meal more nutritious without making it completely different. And don't forget about drinks. A soda, sweetened coffee, or alcoholic drink can add calories without making you feel as full as a nutritious meal or snack. NIA specifically recommends being mindful of beverages when making healthier food choices. Now, if you're thinking, this sounds like a lot of changes, here's the good news. Don't change everything at once. Pick one thing. Maybe add a serving of vegetables to dinner this week, or replace one sugary drink with water, or try a new fruit you've never bought before. Once that becomes normal, make another small change. That's a much more realistic approach than deciding on Sunday night that you're going to completely reinvent your diet on Monday morning. And there's something else worth remembering. Your eating habits don't exist separately from the rest of your lifestyle. Your food choices, physical activity, sleep, stress, and overall health all fit into the bigger picture of healthy aging. NIA emphasizes that small changes in several areas can support healthier aging. So don't judge your health based on one meal. Look at your normal week. What does your breakfast usually look like? What do you snack on? What do you drink? How often are fruits and vegetables showing up on your plate? Those patterns tell you much more than one cheat meal ever could. And if your diet isn't where you'd like it to be, don't beat yourself up. You haven't missed your chance. NIA specifically notes that even older adults can benefit from making healthier food choices. Start today. Add one nutritious food. Make one better choice. Then do it again tomorrow. Because healthy eating after 50 isn't about finding a magical diet. It's about building an eating pattern that gives your body the nutrition it needs while still allowing you to enjoy your life. And once you start looking at food that way, something changes. You stop thinking about dieting. You start thinking about taking care of yourself. Now, let's talk about two things that are easy to overlook when you're focused on diet and exercise: sleep and staying connected with other people. Because healthy aging isn't just about what you do with your body during the day. It's also about how well you recover at night, and whether you have people in your life you can laugh with, talk to, and lean on. Let's start with sleep. If you're over 50, you may have noticed that your sleep isn't quite the same as it used to be. Maybe you wake up earlier. Maybe you have trouble staying asleep. Or maybe you wake up in the morning and still don't feel refreshed. Getting older doesn't mean you have to accept being exhausted all the time. The National Institute on Aging says most adults, including older adults, generally need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. One of the simplest things you can work on is consistency. Try going to bed around the same time each night and getting up around the same time each morning. Your routine doesn't have to be perfect, but giving your body a regular schedule can make bedtime more predictable. And take a look at what happens during the hour before bed. Are you watching television until you're ready to pass out? Scrolling through your phone? Drinking caffeine late in the day? Eating a huge meal right before you lie down? These habits may be worth reconsidering if you're struggling with sleep. NIA recommends habits such as keeping a regular sleep schedule, limiting late-day naps, and making the bedroom comfortable and quiet. You don't need some complicated nighttime routine. Dim the lights. Put the phone away for a while. Read something relaxing. Keep your bedroom comfortable. and give yourself a chance to slow down before you expect your brain to switch off. But here's something important. If you're regularly having trouble sleeping, don't simply assume it's because you're getting older. Persistent sleep problems can have different causes, and it's worth talking with a healthcare professional if they're affecting your daily life. Now let's move to something that doesn't happen in your bedroom at all. Your relationships. Think about the people you talk to during a normal week. Family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, people from your community. Maybe it's someone you have coffee with every morning. Maybe it's a friend you call once a week. Maybe it's your grandkids who somehow know exactly how to make you laugh. Those connections matter. The CDC says social connection is important for both mental and physical health, and stronger social bonds are associated with healthier and longer lives. And this doesn't mean you need a huge social circle. You don't need 500 friends. You need meaningful connections, people you can talk to, people who know you, people you can spend time with, and people you can reach out to when life gets tough. The tricky part is that social isolation can happen gradually. Maybe you retire and stop seeing coworkers. Maybe your children move away. Maybe friends move to another state. Maybe mobility becomes more difficult. You stay home a little more often. Then one day you realize you haven't had a real conversation with anyone in several days. If that sounds familiar, don't wait for somebody else to fix it. Make the first move. Call a friend. Invite someone for coffee. Take a walk together. Join a local group. Try a hobby where other people are involved. The CDC specifically suggests things like spending time with friends and family, joining groups with shared interests, and participating in activities you enjoy as ways to build social connections. And here's a nice bonus. You can combine healthy habits. Take a walk with a friend. Cook a healthy meal with your family. Join a gardening group. Take a fitness class. Play cards. Go to a book club. You're moving your body, keeping your mind engaged, and connecting with people at the same time. That's a pretty good deal. And if you sometimes feel lonely, don't think that means something is wrong with you. Loneliness and social isolation can happen to anyone, especially when life circumstances change. NIA notes that older adults can face a greater risk of isolation because of things like living alone, losing loved ones, mobility changes, or other life changes. The important thing is to recognize it and take a small step toward connection. Send the text, make the call, walk over to a neighbor. Say yes to the invitation you've been putting off. Because sometimes a healthier life isn't about adding another supplement or buying another piece of exercise equipment. Sometimes it's simply having someone to share the day with. And when you combine good sleep, regular movement, nutritious food, and meaningful relationships, you're not chasing some perfect version of aging. You're building a lifestyle that supports the life you actually want to live. And there's still another part of healthy aging we haven't talked about yet. Your brain, your stress levels, and what you do to keep your mind engaged as the years go by. Now, let's talk about something you can't see in the mirror, but you use every single day, your brain. After 50, keeping your mind engaged is just as important as keeping your body moving. Your brain naturally changes as you age, but getting older does not mean you automatically lose your ability to learn, remember, or pick up new skills. Think about something you've always wanted to learn. Maybe it's playing an instrument, using a new computer program, cooking a different type of food, taking photographs, or learning a new hobby. You don't have to become an expert. The point is to give your brain something new to work on. The National Institute on Aging notes that learning new skills and staying mentally engaged may support cognitive health. Research has looked at activities such as learning digital photography and quilting, although researchers also caution that the evidence isn't strong enough to claim that every hobby prevents memory loss. That's an important distinction. You may see products online promising to boost your memory or keep your brain young. Be careful with those claims. NIA says there's not enough evidence to conclude that commercial brain training apps provide the same benefits seen in specific research-based cognitive training. So instead of searching for a magic brain game, try something real. Learn a recipe, join a class, pick up a musical instrument, try photography, read about a subject you've never explored, or learn something simply because you're curious. And there's another part of brain health that deserves attention, your physical health.
Your brain doesn't exist separately from the rest of your body. NIA recommends paying attention to things such as physical activity, sleep, healthy eating, blood pressure, hearing, vision, smoking, and alcohol as part of caring for cognitive health. Now let's talk about stress. Nobody gets through life without it. Bills happen, family problems happen, work changes, retirement can bring unexpected adjustments. Life doesn't suddenly become stress-free after 50. The goal isn't to eliminate every stressful situation. It's learning how to give yourself a chance to recover. Maybe that means taking a walk. Maybe it's listening to music. Maybe you spend a few quiet minutes outside. Maybe you write things down. Maybe you practice breathing or mindfulness. NIA suggests activities such as reading, mindfulness, yoga, tai chi, and other enjoyable activities as possible ways to manage stress and support well-being. And here's something people sometimes forget. You don't have to make stress management another item on your to-do list. If a certain activity genuinely helps you relax and you enjoy doing it, that's already a good reason to make room for it. Maybe it's sitting on the porch with your morning coffee. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's taking your dog for a walk. Maybe it's calling an old friend. Simple doesn't mean meaningless. In fact, some of the things that make life feel worthwhile are incredibly ordinary, and that brings us back to learning. Don't convince yourself that you're too old to start something new. NIA specifically notes that older adults can continue learning new things, creating new memories, and improving their performance in different skills. So if there's something you've been putting off because you think, I'm too old for that, reconsider. Maybe you're just getting started. And if you're worried about changes in your memory or thinking, don't automatically assume it's normal aging. Some changes can have many possible causes, and persistent or concerning changes are worth discussing with a healthcare professional. The bigger message is simple. Take care of your body. Keep your mind engaged. Give yourself time to recover from stress. Stay curious, and keep doing things that make your life feel meaningful.
Because healthy aging isn't about keeping everything exactly the same. It's about continuing to grow while your life changes around you. And there's one more area we need to talk about because it can quietly influence almost every other part of your health, your everyday habits, and the choices you make over the long run. Now, let's talk about 3 everyday factors that can quietly influence your health as you get older: your weight, smoking, and alcohol. And I want to start with weight because after 50, it's easy to become obsessed with the number on the scale. But your weight doesn't tell the whole story. Your age, activity level, sleep, eating habits, genetics, medications, and other factors can all influence your weight. And NIA points out that even BMI and the number on the scale only tell part of the picture. So instead of asking, how quickly can I lose weight? Try asking, what can I do to support my health? That might mean becoming more active, choosing more nutritious foods, or paying attention to portion sizes. And there's an important reason not to chase extreme diets. NIA says there isn't enough evidence to recommend calorie restriction or fasting diets for older adults, and significant changes to your eating pattern should be discussed with a healthcare professional. You also don't want to ignore the opposite problem. If you're losing weight without trying, especially if the change is rapid or persistent, don't simply assume it's part of getting older. Unintentional weight loss can have different causes and deserves professional attention. Now, let's talk about smoking. If you smoke, quitting can be one of the most meaningful changes you can make for your health. And here's something encouraging. It doesn't matter if you've been smoking for many years. NIA says quitting at any age can improve health, including for people who are already in their 60s or older. So don't tell yourself, I've been doing it this long, what's the point? There is a point. Your body can still benefit from quitting. If you've tried before and struggled, that doesn't mean you can't try again. Talk with a healthcare professional about evidence-based ways to quit and find an approach that works for you. Not. Alcohol is another area worth being honest about. Maybe you enjoy a glass of wine with dinner. Maybe you have a beer when you're watching the game. For some people, drinking is simply part of their social routine. But alcohol can affect older adults differently than it did when they were younger. NIA notes that aging can change how the body handles alcohol, and alcohol can interact dangerously with some medications. That's especially important if you're taking prescription or over-the-counter medications. So if you're unsure whether alcohol is safe with a medication you're taking, don't guess. Ask your doctor or pharmacist. And don't think of cutting back as an all-or-nothing decision. You can start by paying attention to how often you're drinking and what situations tend to trigger it. Maybe it's stress, maybe boredom, maybe social pressure, maybe it's simply become part of your evening routine. Once you understand the pattern, it's easier to decide whether you want to change it. And there's one more thing I want you to remember. Healthy aging isn't about trying to control every single number. It's about looking at the bigger picture. Are you moving regularly? Are you eating nutritious foods? Are you sleeping well? Are you staying connected with people? Are you managing your health conditions? Are you avoiding habits that can work against your health? Those questions tell you much more about your overall lifestyle than a single number on a scale. The CDC describes healthy aging as maintaining physical, mental, and social well-being as we grow older, and emphasizes that it's never too late to adopt healthier habits. So don't look at your age and think, well, it's too late now. It's not. You can make a healthier choice at 52. You can make one at 62. You can make one at 72. And you don't have to change everything overnight. Choose one habit, work on it, then build from there. Because the goal isn't to create a perfect lifestyle. It's to create a healthier one that you can actually maintain. And that brings us to the final piece of this entire conversation. Because after everything we've discussed, movement, food, sleep, relationships, brain health, stress, and everyday habit, there's one mindset that can bring all of it together. You don't need to become younger. You need to keep becoming healthier. So, after everything we've talked about, here's the bigger picture. Healthy aging isn't one big decision you make once. It's the result of small choices you keep making over time. The walk you take today, the meal you choose tonight, the sleep routine you protect, the friend you call, the hobby you keep enjoying, the strength you continue building. None of these things may feel dramatic in the moment. And honestly, that's okay, because your health isn't built in one weekend. It's built through the ordinary things you repeat. The National Institute on Aging emphasizes that small changes in areas such as physical activity, healthy eating, sleep, mental health, and staying socially connected can all support healthy aging. And if you're over 50, don't make the mistake of thinking you've missed your opportunity. You haven't. Maybe you're already doing many of these things. Great. Keep going. Maybe you've been inactive for years. That's okay too. You don't need to suddenly become a completely different person. Start with one realistic change. If you're sitting most of the day, start moving a little more. If your meals could use some work, improve one meal. If your sleep has become inconsistent, work on your bedtime routine. If you've been spending too much time alone, reach out to someone. If you've always wanted to learn something new, give it a shot. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is consistency. And don't compare your health journey to somebody else. You might know someone who's 65 and runs every morning. Someone else might be 75 and still traveling around the world. That's great, but your starting point is your own. Your body has its own history. Your lifestyle is different. Your abilities are different, and your health needs may be different. So focus on what you can realistically improve. If you've been inactive, start slowly. If you're dealing with a health condition, get appropriate guidance before making major changes. And if something about your health has changed significantly or concerns you, don't try to diagnose yourself from a YouTube video. Talk with a qualified healthcare professional. That's not a sign of weakness. That's part of taking care of yourself. And here's another mindset I want you to keep. Don't think of healthy aging as trying to turn yourself back into the person you were at 30. That's not the goal. The goal is to make the person you are today as healthy, capable, and independent as possible. Maybe that means being able to walk farther. Maybe it means carrying your groceries without struggling. Maybe it means getting up from a chair more easily. Maybe it means having enough energy to take that trip you've been planning. Maybe it simply means waking up and feeling ready to enjoy your day. Those things matter, because longevity isn't just about how many birthdays you get to celebrate. It's also about what you're able to do during those years. Can you spend time with the people you love? Can you pursue your hobbies? Can you get outside? Can you learn something new? Can you enjoy a meal with friends? Can you still look forward to tomorrow? That's the kind of healthy aging worth working toward. And remember, you don't have to overhaul your entire life tomorrow morning. Pick one thing, make it realistic, do it again. Then, when that starts feeling normal, build on it. That's how habits become part of your life. And if you've been telling yourself, I'm too old to start, I want you to reconsider that sentence. You're not too old to take a walk. You're not too old to improve your meals. You're not too old to work on your strength. You're not too old to make a new friend. You're not too old to learn something you've never learned before. And you're certainly not too old to take better care of yourself. Healthy aging isn't about stopping the clock. It's about making the years ahead count. So wherever you are right now, start there. Take the next small step, and then take another one tomorrow. Because your future health isn't created someday. It's shaped by what you do, little by little, starting now. And if this video gave you even one idea you can realistically use, share it with someone who's over 50 who might appreciate hearing this. And I'd love to know in the comments, what's one healthy habit you're going to work on this week? Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's better food. Maybe it's getting more consistent sleep. Or maybe it's simply calling someone you haven't talked to in a while. Whatever it is, start small. Keep it realistic and keep moving forward. Thanks for watching and subscribe to Trusted Health Tips, and take care of yourself.